guys, so this is going to be the Diversity Initiative Module 2, Bryan Beach, IDS-400, Southern New Hampshire University, 15 EW5. And originally my Diversity Initiative for Module 1's milestone was actually on the profession of teaching. However, at first glance, that's too broad, and I didn't know enough about any one particular organization. So what I've done is I've kind of transformed that into a profession that I know myself, as I currently work in the field, and that is law enforcement. And I've picked a department that I could analyze for this initiative. So here we go. Dearborn Heights Police Department, diversifying to better serve. That is the motto of the initiative. The organization chosen for my diversity initiative is Dearborn Heights Police Department, which is located in southern Michigan. The organization is tasked with providing 24-hour police services to over 57,000 citizens residing within the city of Dearborn Heights. And the department has 74 full-time sworn officers, which are a usual 40-hour work week, and 21 part-time officers, so those are individuals that are called on an as-needed basis or as gap fillers, and 17 civilian employees. These are your records keepers, your dispatchers, your chief secretary, potentially your property room individual as well. Diversity Initiative. This is the initiative. It revolves around attracting more female applicants to the profession and the department. So little is known about the strategic plan of the Dearborn Heights Police Department with regards to diversification within the organization. What we do know is that as a whole, the profession of policing with regards to male versus female is largely dominated by a male presence. Currently, statistics tell us that women debuted into law enforcement in the early 20th century, making up only 2% of the force. And as of July 2013, the statistics showed that females had made 13 to 14% of the total force. So they're still lumbering behind as far as male presence is concerned. There's references for my statistics. The first lens we're going to use a biology lens, in which we're going to look at brain and anatomical differences between males and females, and also muscularity differences, as most assume that police work has to do with some level of physical fitness. So as far as the brain goes, males typically have a 10% larger brain. They are largely left brain dominant, whereas their female counterparts are evenly balanced brain usage, which actually gives them slightly more intuitive and better communication skills. Males have trouble identifying emotional cues, which are very important on scene when dealing with a domestic violence issue or potentially a sexual assault. Women, however, or females, have better communication skills and are emotional intelligence, more group-oriented and apt to seek solutions by talking through issues. Males, larger inferior pituitary lobal controls numerical brain functions, which means math tends to be better for males. And males, when faced with confrontation or a situation which causes adrenaline, tends to lead to the infamous fight or flight syndrome, whereas females tend to revert to a tend or befriend mentality. And women are largely deep limbic system. They have an innate ability to connect with others. When it comes to muscularity, males are typically broader in stature. Females' body design is slightly different. Males are more muscle mass, 33% more, whereas females have less mass. Males are less flexible. This is actually a negative, as sometimes a certain level of flexibility to get into a small space may be required for this type of work. Women have better coordination and flexibility than males. Men are considered top-heavy, as most of their muscle mass is evenly distributed, whereas females tend to have a lot more muscle mass in their lower body. The sociology lens, we're going to talk about perception of males versus females as far as the occupation goes and how society views that. We're also going to look at myths of required skill sets, as this is kind of a social trend that people tend to associate police work with males only. Perception. So when it comes to perception, unfortunately, females are viewed, this is a negative on family responsibilities. So traditional roles of females, their mothers, their wives, role conflicts often come up as shift work impacts their ability to be those nurturing mothers that they want to be or that they need to be for relatively young children. It can also cause issues at home between the male, female, husband-wife mentality, because men tend to want to be more dominant, that assertive role within the house, but yet female officers demand a certain level of respect and authority as they're used to on the job. So males may feel inferior at the home, and this may impact a female's decision to join the profession. Internal acceptance from male officers is actually rather troublesome. Through research, what we've learned is the type of work assigned to females, the male counterparts often question what type of work is assigned versus their workload. Female inadequacies, so males tend to perceive females as a weaker sex, which causes them to doubt their ability to provide adequate backup if the situation should arrive. They're also hesitant as far as harassment goes. Males tend to view female officers as more apt to run and report incidences of harassment, which would otherwise be construed as just joking or horseplay if it was a male and male relationship in the workplace. And other things like accommodations. This was actually a key factor that I looked at. A lot of departments are ill-equipped accommodations-wise to service a large population of female officers when it comes to locker rooms. Uniforms are different, so they're not easily transferred out. Some departments have a quartermaster system where when you leave the department, you turn everything in, and those uniforms are actually handed off to the next incoming officer. It's a pool of equipment that can be utilized. So obviously females and males differ in body size, waists, chest sizes, boot sizes. So that's another accommodation that the internal organization has to accept. Myths about police work and women in particular. We've heard the full gambit here. Women officers are faced with more situations in which they must use a gun. This is false, and oftentimes people make that assumption because of sheer physical capabilities. People tend to view men as, obviously, like I repeatedly said, the stronger sex, when in fact that assumption's not quite true. While men do physically have the ability to carry more muscle mass, women can put on mass just as much as a male. So this kind of myth comes from a narrow-minded person with regards to females being weaker and having to resort to that high degree of lethal force to protect themselves or another versus going hands-on, if you will. Another myth is women officers face sexual harassment. This is false because in the workplace, equal opportunity, and most agencies, whether police, fire, or private sector, have a zero tolerance for sexual harassment. So a lot of what I have seen and what my research has shown is that regardless of the sex, the profession is a rather small one by comparison with other organizations, and thus being that way, males and females tend to view each other as brothers and sisters, and they watch out for them versus creating that hostile work environment. And lastly, women are not thick-skinned enough. This is false. Doesn't matter if you're a male or a female when it comes to things like that. You can, at the end of the day, eventually you've heard everything, which causes you to continue on in a professional manner. The geography lens, we're going to look at surrounding population demographics and the internal demographics of the department. Surrounding populations breakdown for Dearborn Heights is total population is 58,264 people, and that's according to the 2000 census. Of that, high population percentage is white. You have an equal mix of Black, Asian, and multi is kind of an all-encompassing, with Hispanics leading those three groups. Total population percentage is 48% male and 52% female, which further exacerbates the need for female officers to be present to be able to not only connect but police that 52% of the population which are female. Internal demographics, like stated earlier, 74 members are sworn full-time officers, 21 are part-time, and 17 civilian. Finding the breakdown was not out there, and as such, we can only leave it up to interpretation that the majority of those full-time officers are male, going off the statistic of only about 14% of females are in the profession as a whole. When looking at the interdisciplinary lens here, we are looking at the initiative through geographical and biological lenses simultaneously. We can see that while males have physical attributes that are apparent given the current work environment, the ability for backup, the surrounding population, one can see that the addition of females would greatly improve upon the service provided. It is critical that Dearborn Heights Police Department foster an environment that is accepting of all persons regardless of race or gender. Expounding upon its unique team-oriented environment already in place, supervisors and officers alike impact this initiative. The goals of the initiative are to attract females to the profession through public awareness, organizational alignment with the need for diversification to improve public image. We're going to target a population that is 21 to 30 years old for new hires, and we're going to heavily lean on retainment until retirement. And also we are going to build upon open concepts of opinion and views towards situations. The resources used in developing this initiative provided hardline factual information that females can and do perform within the profession of police work. That being said, the examples provided from biological, sociological, geographical perspectives further outline areas in which our focus will be driven towards a better, more robust, highly supportive environment in which females can flourish.